So this is where I park my bike whenever I visit the Met. This is my pole right here. Percy, you stay here. And because it's raining, I need to go in here and get this out. And this goes over the leather seat so that my bum isn't wet when I ride home. Hi, I'm Rajiv, and today I'm here at the Met to see a show that I've been waiting a long time for, the Tudors. So I have this grand plan to make a Halloween costume that I'm going to wear for the rest of my life, a Tudor costume, and I really want to make it as historically accurate as possible. So coming to a show like this, being able to look at paintings from the period, being able to look at clothing, actual clothing and cloth from the period is just gold for research. I'm so excited to go in there, and you're going to be joining me today at the Met. Hi, I'm Rajiv, and today I am here with Adam Eaker, Associate Curator of European Paintings here at the Metropolitan Museum. Adam curated this wonderful show, co-curated, right?
Yes.
Co-curated this show about the Tudors, and he also co-authored the catalog, which is a very impressive book that you so generously gifted to me. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So Adam, what is it about this period that cultivated such a rich, like, artistic environment? Because that's how it feels walking around this show, that the arts were really thriving during this period. Everything's like glittering.
Mm-hmm. One of the points that we want to make with the show and with the catalog is actually that all of that splendor you see gathered here comes from a place of real insecurity, that the Tudors were usurpers of the English throne. Mm-hmm. They were widely viewed as having an illegitimate claim to the crown, and they knew that, and they were really worried about their authority, their power being called into question. The dynasty comes out of a very long civil war known as the Wars of the Roses that absolutely devastated England. Mm-hmm. And they knew that the prospect of returning to civil war was around every corner. So one of the ways that they mitigated that threat was to spend a lot of money on portraits, on textiles, on jewels, all of the visual trappings and expressions of their power as a way to awe their enemies. Mm-hmm.
So Adam, this is Henry VIII's armor.
It is.
It is incredible. Did he actually wear this? Do we know?
We think he did. It was made for a specific military campaign. Mm-hmm. And it probably is real armor that he would have worn with the intention of going into combat with it. And it could be modified, with leg pieces added. This configuration, I believe, is meant for him to be on horseback.
Wow. And it's so ornate, like the gold that's on it, it's all over the whole thing. Why? I mean, because he's the king, right?
Certainly, and also armor, in addition to being practical, it was an art form. Mm-hmm. It was a major expression of status, of wealth, of taste. It changed very rapidly with shifts in fashion. It's just like other items of apparel, that there were fashions in armor. We also know that armor was an important gift that princes or monarchs would give to one another.
Really?
Yeah, and we tend to prioritize painting as an art form, as the pinnacle. In this period, paintings were pretty cheap. A suit of armor or even a beautiful outfit would have cost vastly more than a painting.
Wow. So there are amazing things in this show, like this piece of armor, that are big and heavy and that would have been very, very expensive and luxurious. But you also have things in the show that are almost the complete opposite, that are so ephemeral. And there's a piece of calligraphy over there that I would love to have a look at because of my work as a calligrapher. So shall we move over there?
Absolutely.
Please? Okay, I have so many questions, and I know I could just read the label, but I didn't read the label.
That's fine.
I just want to ask you, first of all, what is this?
What this is a gift roll, and it records one of the major rituals of the Tudor court. Every year, the Tudor monarchs would receive gifts as New Year's presents from their subjects. And all of these gifts would be recorded on one of these rolls.
Wow.
This is many, many feet of parchment. It actually goes on for several feet longer than we've unrolled it here. And each of the gifts that Elizabeth received in 1585 is listed, and they're actually listed in hierarchical order of the giver. So we start with the lords and the bishops and then go down the line. And all of this would be compiled. Her reciprocal gifts are written on the back of the roll, and then it's presented to her for her approval. So you can actually see Elizabeth's own signature, Elizabeth R, here at the top. When I saw this, I said it has to be in the show because it's not just a bureaucratic document, it's an amazing work of calligraphy. It's monumental in scale. It gives you a sense of the wealth and the power of the monarchs that they were receiving all of these gifts. And it records amazing things too. Like one year, she was given a lion cub as a present.
What?
So they're completely fascinating documents. I'd be curious to know your assessment of the calligraphy. Is it sort of workmanlike, bureaucratic, or?
I don't know if I've seen anything in the flesh that's this old, which is one of the things that fascinates me about this is that I'm actually standing right by it.
Yeah.
But there are so many things going on in my head when I'm looking at this. The first is just when I scan it, like scanning it from here, walking down here, and all the way down to what is visible, I don't see anything messy. Like I don't see random ink blobs, and I don't see things that are uneven, like uneven lines, and I don't see things scratched out. And I think what we forget, which is something I always try to remind people, is that we're so used to being able to just tap delete, 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 delete. And in this era, you couldn't delete something that you wrote. I mean, you couldn't delete it easily. Yes, there was a way of taking things off of parchment. I actually don't know how that was done. I'm assuming maybe even with
scraping.
Scraping, yeah, with a knife. Because I believe this is, do you know if it's goat skin or sheep skin?
I think this is calf skin.
Calf skin, okay, so it's not paper, it's an animal hide, which means it is fairly durable. It's more durable than a thin sheet of paper. But the other thing about this is this was not written with a metal nib.
No.
This was written with a quill. This was written with a bird feather that would have been heated and expertly cut. There were even guilds where there were specialists on cutting quills. So this was written with a quill that would have been dipped into ink. And that is what blows my mind, that the proficiency of the person that was writing this with a quill was just, I mean, it makes sense. It was for the queen and it was a very important document. It must have been the person with the best ability to do this, right? The thing that I love about this are these, what are called flourishes. So up here, like the ornate flourishes, the way that that's done up there, this is like one of those treasures that someone like me who's making a living doing calligraphy here in New York City, you come back and you look at something like this from hundreds of years ago, and there genuinely is a real connection and a great respect, because this was done in an era where there was no choice. You had to do it perfectly.
Yes.
Period. Or you have your head chopped off, maybe. But this is very beautiful, but what fascinates me is this. Everything is evenly spaced. Like for feet, I mean, I could just stand here and talk to you about this for hours, but I guess we should move on.
Yeah, the one thing I'll add is it took 2 days to unroll this and pin it down because the parchment lives and breathes, so to speak. I mean, it really has to be handled very carefully.
2 days?
Yeah, it was amazing to see the paper conservators work with this.
Wow. Okay, can I read you a little bit from my play that I love so much?
Yeah.
So this is my favorite play of all time. It's called Anne of a Thousand Days, and there's a speech that King Henry makes to Anne.
Wow.
And I've used it for auditions before, and usually the people auditioning me are like, Interesting choice that you chose to be King Henry, like, that was like, but
I'd probably choose to be Anne, so, you know.
This is Henry speaking to Anne. Now I have done all you have asked of me, all you asked when we first danced together, and more, for you said nothing about a place of your own back there at the beginning. I think there's never been in all the world a king who gave so much to find his way to the heart of her he loved. Over many years, winter and summer, I have fought and chopped and hacked and stabbed my path through the jungle of laws and events and churchly rules and the flesh of friends to come to this day when I can say it's done and I have earned her love. For all these days, sweet, we have lain together and kissed and drawn apart from the world into a world of our own, but not once have you said, I love you. Surely now, surely, mine Anne will say it now.
I just got chills. That's
well,
great.
That's what's so special about this show, is that I love these plays so much, and these characters have become characters, and then walking around this show and seeing the people from these books, these plays, seeing their portraits, it gives me goosebumps.
And that's been one of the most gratifying parts of the show, to walk through the galleries incognito and see people saying, oh my God, there's Anne Boleyn, there's Henry VIII, there's Elizabeth's signature. I'm one of those people who also has been fascinated by the Tudors since I was easily 6 years old. I don't know why. My parents were very indulgent when it came to letting me check out whatever I wanted at Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this one film with Helena Bonham Carter where she plays Lady Jane Grey, who was queen for 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I must have checked it out every weekend. And it inspired me at the age of 7 to then write my own book about a fictional lady in waiting at the Tudor court. And at the same time, my dad was reading me Tudor history books as my bedtime reading.
Wow.
I was totally obsessed. And so these larger than life characters have been with me for 30 years. And we have fabulous portraits, we have letters, we have, when it comes to the monarchs, pretty much day by day accounts of their lives. And you really do feel like you know them as much as you can know somebody from the 16th century.
Okay, so you have your Blockbuster story.
Yeah.
I have mine, Drew Barrymore, Ever After.
Oh my God, the best.
You remember when she quotes
Utopia, right?
A servant is not a thief, your highness, and those who are cannot help themselves. And then it's like, what is that from? Thomas More. And I was like a little kid and like, who's this Thomas More? And then got Utopia from the library and couldn't read it. Because I didn't understand what I was reading. But many years later, discovered who he was and what he did, and his role in this period. What I love about this is just the painting. This is Holbein as well?
It is one of his greatest portraits.
It's beautiful.
It is.
This velvet,
it's got to be one of the greatest passages of textile painting in the history of art.
That floors me.
The thing that gets me every time is the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yes.
And you see how some of his whiskers are silver. They're not all black.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And this is oil, right?
It is, oil on panel. And you don't have any visible brush strokes with Holbein.
Yep.
And he's painting, particularly in a passage like this, just layer after layer of very thin glaze to achieve these effects. And one of the reasons that these paintings are so delicate is those glazes are very thin. And in many cases, they've been over-cleaned, and you lose those incredible effects of modeling and nuance and texture. So this is just a really precious and special survival.
It's beautiful. I think this might be my favorite portrait in the whole show.
It really is a good one.
Well, Adam, thank you so much. Thank you for showing us around today, and more than that, for being so insightful on all of these treasures.
It's been such a pleasure to go through it and to hear your own insights about how all of these amazing objects were made and how maybe we could bring some of those skills back to life today.
Totally. This is what I love doing. When you have a show on that speaks to me, I just come with open eyes and soak up so much, and then I go back out there and it really is applied to so many aspects of my life. So I know that this was a big undertaking on your part. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And again, thank you so much for giving us your time and telling us all about these wonderful things.
You're very welcome, and I can't wait to see your Halloween costume.
Yes, 2 years from now, or 4, or 7, but eventually.